In today's video, we're breaking down the latest on Marcus Rashford's potential £40 million transfer to Aston Villa and what it means for both Manchester United and the player. Stay tuned for all the details. Fresh Marcus Rashford Aston Villa transfer details emerge amid £40 million Man United fee. Marcus Rashford is closing in on a loan move to Aston Villa. The Manchester United forward has agreed to join Villa until the end of the season after Unai Emery called and convinced him to make the switch, according to Fabrizio Romano. The Manchester Evening News reported yesterday the terms of the deal and that the Reds Academy graduate was happy to make the move to Villa Park, having fallen out of favour under new boss Ruben Amorim. However, Romano now adds that Villa are going to pay more than 70% of Rashford's reported £325,000 per week wage. A £40 million option to make the transfer permanent in the summer is going to be included, as Rashford, 27, prepares to leave United for the first time in his professional career. Alongside that, a 3.5-year contract will be presented to Rashford should Villa activate the buy clause. Rashford is set to travel down to the West Midlands to undergo a medical on Sunday. He is expected to become Villa's third signing of the January transfer window, after Daniel Malin arrived from Borussia Dortmund for £21 million plus add-ons and Andrés Garca signed in a £5.9 million deal from Levante. A home game against Tottenham in the FA Cup next weekend could represent Rashford's Villa debut should a move go through as anticipated. Emery's Villa are also still in the Champions League, having booked automatic qualification to the round of 16 after finishing 8th in the new format. Villa will face one of Borussia Dortmund, Atlanta, Sporting CP or Club Brugge in the last 16 in March, meaning Rashford is set for a return to Europe's elite club competition. He has scored 12 goals and added 3 assists in 33 Champions League matches across his career, having netted his first in 2017. Rashford might need a couple of weeks to get back up to speed. However, having not played for United since a Europa League tie against Victoria Plzen on December 12, the England international has missed the last 12 matches after he was left out of the squad for the trip to Manchester City. He has been involved in one matchday squad across that period, the 2-0 defeat to Newcastle, but remained as an unused substitute. During the 2024-25 season, Rashford has found the net 7 times in 24 appearances. But the Wythenshawe-born forward hasn't scored since a 4-0 win over Everton on December 1st. Rashford's proposed move to Villa comes a matter of days after Ruben Amorim called for him to change if he is to return to the United fold. Speaking ahead of United's trip to RCSB, the Portuguese said, "Imagine a talent like Rashford. Our team should be so much better with him, but he has to change." Man United considering transfer for £40 million rated star after Marcus Rashford exit. Manchester United are considering a surprise loan move for Aston Villa's Leon Bailey, according to the latest reports. The 27-year-old Jamaican has struggled for form this season, having scored once and added 3 assists in 29 appearances. It has been suggested that Moussa Diaby's £51 million exit to Al Ittihad has impacted Bailey, who registered double figures for goals and assists during the 2023-24 campaign. Despite this, United are plotting an unexpected late January transfer for the former Bayer Leverkusen forward. According to The Athletic, Ruben Amorim's side are eyeing up Bailey on loan for the remainder of the season. It's added that Bailey is one of 3 attacking options being targeted by United. Christopher Nkunku is another, while Mathys Tel is the third as United bid to try and lure him out of Bayern Munich. United are understood to prefer a move for 19-year-old sensation Tel after he rejected a move to Tottenham on Friday, with Arsenal and Chelsea among the others keeping an eye on his situation. While Tel's future is uncertain after expressing his desire to leave Bayern earlier in January, there is a chance that he could stay beyond the end of the transfer window. Mathys is extremely connected to the club, Bayern sporting director Christoph Freund told Sky Sport Deutschland. He loves being here. It's quite possible that he will still be a Bayern Munich player on Tuesday. With Marcus Rashford set to join Aston Villa on a loan deal with a £40 million option to buy, it's no shock that United are looking to bolster their attack. Bailey would represent an astute addition if United could get him back to his best, having helped fire Villa to the Champions League this season. A left-footed winger, Bailey's preferred position is on the right, but he can also play off the left and through the middle when required. That versatility could be important for Amorim, as he tries to fine-tune his United squad. Bailey has scored 21 goals in 134 matches for Villa since arriving from Leverkusen in 2021. Should United pursue a move for Bailey, they are going to have to move fast to get a deal done. The clock is ticking for United to get a transfer finalized with less than 48 hours before Monday's 11 p.m. deadline. United are yet to make a signing during the January window but are closing in on the £30 million addition of left-wing back Patrick Dorgu from Lecce. The 20-year-old Denmark international had his medical at Carrington on Saturday and is set to join Amorim's side on a long-term contract. Man United disagreed with Erik Ten Hag after ignored instructions in worst defeat. Manchester United's defeat at Crystal Palace back in May was perhaps the performance that defined Erik Ten Hag's tenure with the team hitting new lows under him. Erik Ten Hag claimed he was the right man for Manchester United after they were hammered by Crystal Palace back in May. Those who make the decisions at Old Trafford took their time, but clearly didn't agree. The 4-0 loss at Selhurst Park towards the latter end of last season was arguably the defeat that defined the Ten Hag era. Among his many reverses, few felt as low as when they were torn apart on a Monday night in South London. United were already threatening to rewrite the record books for all the wrong reasons. Ten Hag was on the cusp of eclipsing David Moyes' 2013-14 team as the worst Red Devils outfit of the Premier League era, and this defeat further plunged them towards that reality. Ten Hag had continued to bemoan the team's injury crisis, which meant they had to play Case Moreau as a makeshift centre-half, and he was powerless to stop the Eagles, who were enjoying some excellent end-of-the-season form, ripping them apart. Michael Ollis opened the scoring for the hosts with Ten Hag admitting the goal came about because the player failed to implement his plan, and he confessed the team had hit a new low across the campaign. He said, "It's a goal that shouldn't happen because we really give clear instructions how we should defend this. They didn't bring it on the pitch. We got hammered. It is very disappointing. Underperforming. Definitely the worst defeat. We should have done better. We are aware, as a team performance, we were not correct, making big mistakes and not following the plan and the script and the rules we have." The hosts were 2-goal ahead by the interval and Tyrick Mitchell made it 3-0 just before the hour mark. 8 minutes later Ollis had his second as the Eagles really began to stick the knife into the heart of the Red Devils. It all led to some scathing verdicts. Jamie Carragher produced his famous, "leave the football, before the football leaves you" line when assessing Casemiro's performance. He then claimed under Ten Hag, they were one of the most poorly coached teams in the Premier League. Ten Hag had continued to point to his list of absentees throughout the season and claimed that was a reason for the reverse. His sugarcoating only went so far though, as he acknowledged his United side were well off the levels required. "It's clear, it's obvious. This is underperforming," he said. "We didn't act how we wanted to and it's not good enough. We are very disappointed. Our fans were behind us and we should have kept fighting like the fans did. There are always reasons. Everyone sees our backline, we have huge problems. At the end of the day, we have to deal with it." He was defiant when asked if he was the right person for the job. Absolutely. Man United could still sign 2 players in final 48 hours before transfer deadline. Manchester United are expected to be busy in the final 2 days of the transfer window. Manchester United could yet complete another 2 deals in the winter transfer window. The Red Devils are understood to be closing in on an initial £25 million switch for Patrick Dorgu from Lecce. United are also reportedly chasing a replacement for Marcus Rashford, who is set to join Aston Villa on loan. The forward will finalize his switch to the Birmingham club today, Sunday, and likely end a 20-year association with United, with Villa having an option to make the move permanent. Ruben Amorim has been light of attacking options since his appointment at Old Trafford in November. He has failed to fall upon his favorite front three, often rotating his forwards to find the best formula. A lack of specialist number 10s has seen Amorim forced to use wider players behind the center forward. Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee have struggled to score regular goals as Amorim's number 9. All that could change in the final 2 days of the window, though. Rashford's departure is set to vacate space on the wage bill. According to the Daily Mail, United have held further talks with Bayern Munich over a loan move for Mathys Tel. The 19-year-old has struggled for game time in Bavaria, and his club have claimed he asked to leave. Tell is widely reported to have snubbed a switch to Tottenham after the North Londoners agreed a £50 million deal with Bayern. United could be a more enticing option for the forward, who was left out of Bayern's squad for their win over Holstein Kiel on Saturday. United are said to be interested in discussing a loan move for Tell should the possibility arise. There could then be scope to make the deal permanent in the summer. Additionally, United have identified Chelsea outcast Christopher Nkunku as another forward option. The Frenchman has started only 3 Premier League games this season, featuring more prominently in the Blues' second-string squad for the Conference League, Carabao Cup and FA Cup, but it is claimed that Nkunku would prefer a permanent exit from Stamford Bridge to kickstart his career. It seems unlikely that United would be prepared to meet Chelsea's valuation of the former RB Leipzig star. Leon Bailey is also reported to be an option, and United might have used discussions with Aston Villa over Marcus Rashford to raise the possibility of signing the Jamaica international. 27. It remains to be seen whether United complete any more transfer business before Monday's 11 p.m. deadline. Deal off. Man United transfer twist as players' hopes of exit collapse as new loan offer submitted. A handful of Manchester United players are set for exits from the club before the transfer window shuts. Marcus Rashford's desired exit from Manchester United took a major step forward on Saturday as he closed in on a move to Premier League rivals Aston Villa. But he is not the only Red Devils star who is in line for a departure. Rashford agreed personal terms with Villa ahead of a potential loan move after holding talks with a number of clubs since the January transfer window opened. The forward is just one player who is set for the Old Trafford exit door before the deadline, with defender Tyrell Malacia another poised to leave the club. The Dutch left-back's planned departure comes after a deal was agreed with Lecce to sign defender Patrick Dorgu. The Danish international is set to have his transfer officially confirmed ahead of Monday's 11 p.m. deadline. Malacia deal off as Malacia looks to leave United. Portuguese club Benfica had shown strong interest in the player. According to the Daily Mail, Malacia had already said goodbye to his teammates at Carrington as he looked to seal a move to Portugal. However, the deal is now off, with United looking at other options for Malacia, with a number of clubs still interested. Italian journalist Fabrizio Romano reported on X. Tyrell Malacia's loan move to Benfica from Man United has definitely collapsed. No agreement on loan fee and future buy option. Man United keep looking at options for Malacia as there are several loan requests. He added later that Benfica had submitted a loan offer for AS Roma defender Samuel Dahl, with the two clubs now in talks with the Malacia deal off. Meanwhile, Dorgu is expected to be at Old Trafford when United host Crystal Palace in the Premier League on Sunday afternoon, though he is not eligible to feature in the match. United boss Ruben Amorim was questioned recently if Malacia had a future at Old Trafford and responded, "We will see. What I know is that it's really hard on Malacia. It is a long time without playing, and then it's hard to play a lot of games. A player like him is a fullback. He played with the national team outside and inside, but sometimes in this system, sometimes it's hard for him because he's not so offensive. He can play as one of the 3 defenders, if we have more possession and more control of the games. It's a really difficult context for him. But he's our player and we are going to help him." Malacia's future could also be impacted by Luke Shaw's pending return from injury. Providing an update on the ex-Southampton man's fitness, Amorim said after the win over FCSB in the Europa League, "It will take a little bit more time. I think he needs to train more, to spend more time with his teammates playing as normal, even small-sided games. Not just working alone. He stayed in Manchester to do a different type of work." Here we go. Fabrizio Romano reveals all the details behind Marcus Rashford's transfer to Aston Villa. Manchester United want away Marcus Rashford is all set to join Aston Villa, thus ending his ordeal at Old Trafford. The striker has been omitted from Ruben Amorim's plans since mid-December, so he hasn't featured for a single minute across the club's last 12 fixtures in all competitions. But while the writing has been on the wall for quite some time, the 27-year-old's next destination was shrouded in mystery, despite links with several clubs across Europe, including AC Milan, Borussia Dortmund and Juventus, as well as his dream destination, Barcelona. But while none of these moves materialized, Aston Villa jumped on the opportunity and pulled off an agreement with the Red Devils as well as the player's entourage in almost record time. The Villains have recently sold their striker Johan Duran to Al Nassr, collecting a hefty transfer fee in the process. So they resorted to Rashford as a direct replacement to maintain solid squad depth, especially with the Champions League knockout stages on the horizon. Fabrizio Romano gives "Here we go" for Marcus Rashford to Aston Villa. On Sunday morning, famous Italian journalist Fabrizio Romano stamped the deal with his trademark "Here we go" line, suggesting that the agreement has been sealed, and the player's transfer is now imminent. He also adds that his medical has already been booked. The source reveals that the Villains will cover more than 70% of the striker's wages, meaning that Man United will still have to contribute with a minority part of the player's £325,000 per week salary. Moreover, Romano confirms that Rashford is joining Villa initially on loan, but the Birmingham-based club will have the option to buy him at the end of the season for £40 million. So after rising through the club's ranks and representing every age group before reaching the first team in 2016, Rashford is finally set to leave the nest. Marcus Rashford can do Man United a huge favour immediately after joining Aston Villa. Timing is ideal. Marcus Rashford wasn't very helpful to Manchester United's cause in the last 2 seasons, but he can do the club a huge favour immediately after leaving. Marcus Rashford is set to join Aston Villa on an initial loan with the option for Villa to make it permanent for £40 million. It brings to an end a transfer saga that lasted through the window, with numerous twists and turns and ultimately ending somewhat anticlimactically. However, it has one silver lining, and it could be visible almost immediately after his departure. Marcus Rashford can help Man United. It can be argued that Rashford has already helped United by sealing a move elsewhere as it frees up massive wages on the salary bill. That could well allow United to sign a striker in the remaining time this window, a huge bonus since the team was effectively playing without Rashford. At the same time, his going to a Premier League team means Man United fans will be privy to his exploits with that much more ease. Not ideal for an academy product who should have been the poster boy of the club. However, his exploits could be beneficial to United almost immediately, as a single glance at Aston Villa's fixture list reveals. Villa's next game is at home to Spurs in the FA Cup, a competition which United hope to win after knocking out Arsenal in the previous round. Rashford is likely to get some minutes straight away, even if only from the bench, and if he plays a part in knocking out Spurs, that would be an immediate favour to United, especially from a narrative POV since Spurs knocked out United from the Carabao Cup. Man United will hope Rashford shows out. It is easy to get on the hate train for Rashford as a Man United fan considering how badly it has gone sour for him at Old Trafford, especially professionally. The expectation from him was that much higher because of his status as an academy product, but he has failed staggeringly short, it seems personally and professionally. However, it is in United's best interests that Rashford shows out and performs well at Villa because, for all intents and purposes, he's done at United. The only way the club emerges from this as a slight victor is if they manage to offload him on favourable terms and get his salary completely off the wage bill. For that to happen, he needs to perform well at Aston Villa, starting with Tottenham in the FA Cup. Manchester United and Aston Villa agree terms for Marcus Rashford loan transfer. Manchester United and Aston Villa have agreed terms in principle for the loan transfer of Marcus Rashford until the end of the season. Sources say Villa have agreed to pay a loan fee and will cover the majority of Rashford's £325,000 weekly salary. Villa also have an option to buy the forward in the summer. Rashford, 27, emerged as a late target for Villa after they sold Johan Duran to Al Nassr for £64 million. Rashford's representatives had previously held discussions with Tottenham, West Ham and Barcelona. Barca were hesitant about forcing through a loan move in the current transfer window. The men revealed on Saturday morning that Rashford was closing in on a temporary move to the 1996 League Cup winners. Villa will offer Rashford Champions League knockout football for the first time since he played for United against Atletico Madrid in 2022. Villa are currently 8th in the Premier League table and 8 points clear of 12th placed United. Rashford was also happy to accept Villa's offer as he will not have to relocate and can commute to the club's Bodymore Heath training ground. United have been waiting for a concrete offer for Rashford ever since he outlined his desire for a new challenge nearly 7 weeks ago. The England international aired his desire to leave the club 2 days after he was dropped from the squad for the Manchester Derby win at City on December 15th. Rashford has not played in United's past 12 matches, and he was omitted from all but one matchday squad during that sequence. Several United fans booed Rashford on his last appearance for the club away to Victoria Plzen on December 12th. Head coach Ruben Amorim did not acknowledge Rashford after he was substituted in the second half. Amorim said last week he would rather play his 63-year-old goalkeeping coach, Jorge Vidal, than Rashford or any other player that does not give his maximum in training. Amorim softened his stance in midweek but stressed Rashford had to change if he was to be reintegrated into the United squad. Villa's sudden need for a new forward has enabled the Premier League clubs to quickly conclude a deal. United signed rookie defender Aiden Heaven from Arsenal on Saturday, and left-back Patrick Dorgu is undergoing a medical ahead of his move from Lecce.